In today's video, we are making a set of 3 bad cakes ornaments for Valentine's Day. The patterns I'm using are available in my Etsy shop as a PDF pattern. The link is in the description box below. Welcome, my pretties, to the Awfully Sweet channel. I printed and cut my bats patterns. I'm using an acrylic paint pen to trace the bats on a piece of pink felt. We'll need 4 of them. Then I'm cutting the shapes with scissors inside of the line. I come back for some touch-ups if I see any red around the edges. I'm also tracing some bats on a piece of white felt. We'll need 2 of them. I am cutting those as well, making sure that the red won't be visible. The next step is to paint using fabric paint. I'm using deep red, neon plum, and white. I transferred the paint to smaller containers because the original tip is a bit large and I want to do finer lines for my design. Before painting on my felt bat, I like to test the flow of the paint on a piece of paper. Now I'm using the color deep red to paint on one of the pink bats. I personally find it easier to build my lines going slowly back and forth instead of a straight line. Find what is more comfortable for you. It might take some practice. It's a good idea to move your work around to paint some lines at a better angle. Keep the tip of your bottle clean of paint. I'm trying my best to replicate the lines on my bat only from looking at the design in front of me. If you find this too hard to do, be creative and freestyle your own cake icing. This should be the fun part. And there you have it, red on pink. I like to use a disposable tray for my painted felt. This way, I can move my projects around without worrying about messing up the paint with my hands while it dries overnight. Now I'm working on the second bat. I'm doing the exact same thing using the color neon plum on white felt. And there you have it. The third and final bat, my favorite, is white on pink felt. Nothing is changing, we are still doing the same process. The collection is complete. On to the next step. Using some embroidery floss in white, pink 3716 and red 3801, we are going to create some hanging loops for our bat cakes ornaments. I measure 3 pieces of 7.5 inches for each color. Now I can make 3 braids mixing those colors. I tie a knot, tape it on my work surface, place an heavy object on top, and let my hands turn into skilled spiders to make a braid. When I almost reach the end, I can make another knot. This is the end result. Make 2 more just like this. Now it's time to assemble all the pieces together. I like to cut a little bit of the braid's ends so they are not extra long. If you want, you could place the hanging loop on top of the bat's head, just like this. To me, it makes more sense upside down, so I'm gonna do just that. To attach my hanging loop, I'm cutting a tiny rectangle piece of pink felt and hot glue it at the bottom of my loop to the back side, making sure it is well centered. Now we are going to sew the front and back pieces together. I'm using the red embroidery floss for the pink and white bat. To measure it, I'm making 3 circles around my bat, contouring the shape.
Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap. Tip. Tap, tip tap, tip tap.
I'm tying 2 knots at the end and place it inside of my needle. I like to keep the length as short as possible, but also have some room to work and adjust it as we go. I'm doing a blanket stitch starting at the corner of the wing on the back piece. I place the front piece on top and start stitching all around. When I get close to the hanging loop, I make sure that my stitches keep it centered and that they are very close to it on each side, so that it stays in place. Once the first wing is closed, I can fill it with polyester stuffing. You can use a pencil or a small tool to get it into the corners. I then keep stitching around the head, and I gradually fill the head and body portion with polyester stuffing. I keep stitching and filling the bat until I reach the end. For my last stitch, I go back to the first one and make a knot on the side. I place the needle next to the knot in between the front and back pieces. I then let it come out at the back. I pull on the embroidery floss to hide the knot inside of the ornament and make a clean cut with scissors. Nobody will know where the string is. It will be our secret. The first bat ornament is complete and looking good. On to the second one. To attach the hanging loop, I cut a slightly longer piece of white felt compared to the previous pink one. I hot glue it around the bottom of the braid, covering the front and back. This way, we won't see the red through the back of the bat, since white felt tends to be see-through. I then glue it to the back of the bat, and we can't see a thing. Sometimes the fabric paint gets out of control with the texture of felt, but we can do something about it once it's dry. I just take my scissors and cut any unwanted parts. Time to assemble. I'm using the pink embroidery floss for the white and neon plum bat. Make 3 circles.
Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap, tip tap. Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap.
We are doing the exact same process. Start at the corner of the wing. Blanket stitch. Fill it gradually with polyester stuffing as you go. And remember to magically hide your string inside of the bat. And voila! On to the third and last one. I'm using white embroidery floss for the pink and deep red bat. By now, you know the dance.
Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap, tip. Tip tap, tip tap.
I clean the paint with my scissors. Always keep your work surface pristine. Hot glue the hanging loop and stitch it closed just like we did before. We did it! Our bat cakes ornaments are now complete and ready to hang in our Valentine's Day / Halloween tree. As you probably saw in the beginning of the video, I traced a lot of bats on my felt because I made a few sets that are available in my Etsy shop in addition to the PDF pattern. If you would like to buy the ornaments, check the link in the description box. If you enjoy spooky ornaments and Halloween DIYs, please be sweet and leave me a little treat by clicking on my pumpkin pail to subscribe to the Awfully Sweet channel. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to know when a new video comes up. There is always enough room on my broom for another crafty ghoul. Let me know in the comment section what Halloween-inspired ornament you would like to see next. Thank you for hanging out with me. Have a fabulous day. Bye!